This is Jesse Steele with Eastern's Here Now. There was rumor of a possible anti-mask protest today where parents, allegedly, were pulling their kids out of Bishop Union High School. I spoke with Superintendent Katie Kolker about this matter.
Yes, there was a protest in the community, and so there are families that called the school and said, my school is absent today because of the protest, and the protest is against the public health mandates. So we do have quite a few absences today. I totaled them up, and we have about 100 students in the district out on independent study. Mm-hmm. Because that's an option for our families that want to choose it if they're close contacts or for other reasons. And then we have 385 absences for other reasons.
Which are probably this.
I don't think it's all of it by any means, but I'm sure at least, I shouldn't say I'm sure.
Yeah.
I have to imagine, that's a higher number. I haven't looked at like last Friday or the Friday before yet to compare it to like what a typical Friday would be. Fridays, you have more absences in general,
Yeah.
But I'm sure this is higher than normal for sure. So we know that there's a sector of our community that feels really strongly about the public health policies that we're required to implement.
Right.
And they don't agree with them.
It was reported to me this morning by a parent that this was going to go on, and this was a parent that's not anti-vax, so they were a little bit more scared, I believe. But they told me that there was a threat of violence, and that's why they kept their kids home. And of course, that's probably not the case.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. So I just was.
No, that sounds awful.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad that isn't the case.
I haven't heard anything like that. No.
Okay, good.
And while the meetings have obviously a couple of folks have been hostile and yelled and been disruptive, the vast majority have not. And last night there were a couple of folks that, spoke up against upholding these public health orders, but did so very respectfully and even encouraged their peers to be respectful as well. So I think we learned from last month.
Yeah.
None of us want to go through that again. And yes, there were still some hostile folks in the group, but it wasn't the majority.
Well, that's super positive to hear, too, because it's so easy. You can have a disagreement as adults, or you could bang your feet on the ground and scream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we're doing our jobs by listening and, giving the public their opportunity to speak up and share what they need to say.
Yeah.
And at the same time, reminding everyone how public schools work. And that's kind of where I feel my role is, we're happy to listen to everyone's concerns, and we will do what we can with what we can. But these are policies that all public schools are required to enforce. And it's not just Bishop.
Yeah.
It's all the public schools in California.
Yeah, totally. And so when you have these meetings where, like last month in particular, but like last night as well, where they're having, where the protests are happening and the parents that are anti-mask are protesting and giving their opinions, do you want to elaborate a little bit more on the fact that that's not your decision? And to maybe get that out there that, hey, this...
I think that part is important. Yeah. It's not a local school district's decision whether or not we get to carry out these public health orders. So we can't be less restrictive than our local public health office tells us we can. And then local public health can't be less restrictive than what the state CDPH tells them. So if there is an order that comes down from CDPH, local public health has to follow it and the schools have to follow it. I have contacted our legal counsel, as have several other local superintendents, to ask questions about whether or not we have to enforce these and if there might be leniency in enforcing them. And every single one of us have received the same answer. And all of our legal counsel and Cal OSHA and our school liability insurance have all reinforced that, yes, you are required to uphold these policies. So there's some components of the public health policies that I personally have issue with for our local community. And I really have been advocating for more leniency. And I'll continue to advocate. But at the end of the day, until we're allowed to change it, these are the policies that I have to enforce.
And it seems like you guys have been very courteous towards all sides to be able to actually speak their mind and say what they think. But it seems to me that people don't realize you can't just flip the switch. Okay, you win. That's kind of my thought on that. And so it's important. I think it's cool that you guys are actually allowing people to give their peace of mind about what they think. But I guess
absolutely.
that's the important part, is that people need to realize, if you're trying to enforce change, you're going to the wrong people.
Yeah, exactly. And I've even shared, here's some information on who you can contact. And a lot of people know kind of local legislatures is who they can contact locally. But also, you can contact the California Department of Public Health, and you can join in on advocating for small rural schools to have more local control over what some of these policies look like. That not every blanket policy for the state makes sense for a small community.